Snipers, you have to see what's happening in the cryptocurrency market today as Bitcoin is showing chart vibration between the monthly and weekly open, sitting just below our major resistance of $58,300 down to around that $56,000 level, where we also have the previous weekly open. And notice how Cardano, after the major Ethereum breakout, is testing a major level here at 3198 Satoshis, which is going to potentially bring Cardano into price discovery. And all eyes right now are on Cardano, with the US dollar pairing up over 11% at $1.80. I want to talk about whether or not we're going to see continuation of Cardano's breakout based on the schematics of the Cardano to Bitcoin chart, just like we predicted with Ethereum. Of course, notice how we are still showing more strength against Bitcoin, heading towards our target of the 85,000 Satoshi area. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Al-Obeidi. We have a lot to talk about today. If you guys appreciate this content, remember to smash the like button. First, I want to address what's happening to Bitcoin. We'll move into Cardano and Ethereum and some other altcoins, and then talk about what I'm expecting as futures markets open later today. And notice here right now with Bitcoin, we do have this extremely bullish 4-hour wick that tested the weekly open and previous weekly open, and now we are showing price action below the monthly open, sitting at 57,700, but we're not above 58,300, which we all know is a level that we want to get above and to stay above if we want to assume continuation to the upside for Bitcoin. And this is no surprise. Of course, in the past, we've seen a lot of chart vibration here at the $58,300 level. We know this was also the Elon Musk pump high. And so in my opinion, if Bitcoin is not able to get above 58,300, then we potentially could see garden variety market behavior, and the path of least resistance when there's low volume, which we still have low volume here for Bitcoin, is going to be sideways to a little bit higher. And so do not be surprised if we come and break this weekly open at 56,600, because that would open the door to 50,000. However, that doesn't mean that it's going to also affect altcoins, because we're seeing a lot of strength with altcoins, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So if Bitcoin maintains price action below 58,300, we could assume continued sideways price action, and then we could also assume altcoins are going to start seeing price action to the upside, because we're seeing a lot of strength with some altcoins, and this is all happening as Ethereum is breaking into new all-time highs. And we know Ethereum is one of the leading altcoins that also leads other altcoins with it. And so I want to talk about what I'm expecting. But if we break 58,300, of course, and we get back above, we could potentially start to see volume later in the day today, because futures markets are opening. Then of course we do have our target here at 61,844 Satoshis. And the good thing about the whole scenario right now is whether Bitcoin continues sideways, even if it comes a little bit lower and follows this parallel channel, we still have the potential of seeing strength with altcoins. And then on the flip side of that, if Bitcoin continues to the upside, that also is positive for altcoins. So just understand that the thesis over the last 90 days since the start of this year has been altcoin season, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And so I want to talk about what's happening to Ethereum. We know that we are in price discovery, and we are showing strength at this $4,000 big even. And remember, we want to monitor the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart to assume further upside for Ethereum to US dollar. And so far, we have a daily candle that has closed fully above 65,000 Satoshis. And in my opinion, that is the bulls making their stand and saying that we are going to want to see further price action to the upside. And that wouldn't be a surprise, because we know this is all an effect of the upcoming EIP 1559 launch. And just as much as technical analysis is important when trading, fundamentals are equally as important. And what's most important is the psychology. And that's why in March 2020, we saw what happened to traditional markets, how that affected the cryptocurrency markets, and that was all psychology. Of course, the technicals are also important, but not as important as the psychology. And that's why there's a great book for those that want to continue your education in trading, called Trading Psychology, that I highly recommend. But anyways, when it comes to Ethereum to Bitcoin, it looks like it wants to continue further up. And remember, Ethereum is an extremely volatile asset, and we're seeing this show strength despite Bitcoin being down right now over 2%. And notice how the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is maintaining its price better than Bitcoin, and that has been a thesis that I've been preaching over the last 90 days. And so that is a very positive thing, not just for Ethereum, but also for altcoins, because Ethereum likes to lead other altcoins. And notice how the total cryptocurrency market cap chart continues to form these bullish tail candles on the daily chart, and it looks like it wants to continue further. Once again, what walks like a duck, what talks like a duck, and what runs like a duck, 8 out of 10 times is a duck. And so you want to label it as a duck until it's not. And so far, the duck is bullish. We're forming new all-time highs on a daily basis. And so that's where we're going to start talking about Cardano in just a second, because now we want to start monitoring altcoins that are potentially going to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x. Because right now with Bitcoin and Ethereum, their market cap is so large that there may be better opportunities outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. And so notice how others' dominance still maintaining this major ascending support level, indicating that we could potentially continue to see strength with altcoins, with Bitcoin dominance continuing to the downside. And that's where Cardano comes into the question. Right now, Cardano sitting at $1.80. If we look at this weekly chart, we've seen a massive run up in price discovery, and Cardano is trying to take Ethereum's place in certain ways. Of course, Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano and the co-founder of Ethereum, good friend of mine. If you guys haven't watched my interview with him, the link is in the description below. He's not obviously, creating this war, but he does believe that Cardano is a better project and has a lot more potential. And of course, notice how with Ethereum's breakout into price discovery, we're now seeing Cardano's Bitcoin chart test this major high. And I don't know if you were to ask me and say, now, do you think that we're just going to top out here and see a double top? I'm trying to be the umpire, but this is an extremely bullish chart. And so I believe if we break 31.98, which is this previous candle high on the weekly chart, there could be a massive breakout for Cardano beyond the $2 level, potentially towards $3 for the US dollar price, because that 41.90 level comes into the equation if we break 31.98, and we're already seeing bullish momentum to the upside. And so all eyes on Cardano. If you guys want me to cover more altcoins, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the description or in the comments below, and that will also qualify you to win a book if you also share the video. And with that, I want to talk about what I'm watching for traditional markets as they open up. Remember, this 20-week moving average on the DXY is key here. So as we start to see futures open, if we want to assume that there could still be potential downside in traditional markets, which would affect the cryptocurrency markets, then the DXY coming up to retest this 20-week moving average would be a potential confirmation that we could be seeing downside, and this could still turn into an inverse head and shoulder pattern. However, if we see futures markets open and the DXY come below the previous weekly candle low of 90.191, then that would assume the opposite case, where we're going to see strength with traditional markets and strength with the cryptocurrency markets, because then the next downside target is 89.562. And if you come down to test another major level, and this would also potentially invalidate the inverse head and shoulder pattern, because we don't want to come in and test the head of the inverse head and shoulder. That is typically an indication that it's a failed pattern that is going to see continuation in the downside. This area here would be a massive momentum maker for traditional markets and the cryptocurrency market, because this is an extremely important support level, and that would open the door to a lot of lower prices when it comes to the dollar value. And so we're already seeing the direct effects of this correlation. The best traders understand correlations, and so when the DXY formed this new low, we saw the S&P 500 on Friday close with new highs. And so it's the thesis that we've always maintained on this channel, and it's one of the unique things about our channel to cover all markets, because I believe that opportunity is everywhere. So we want to monitor these markets, and they affect each other. And so it's so important. They're leading indicators, right? And so the S&P 500 doing well, and then gold showing strength, coming up to test this 200 period moving average at 1850. We are above the 20-week moving average for the first time since we broke down after hitting $2,000 an ounce. Now we're testing the 50-week moving average. This is an indication that institutions are hedging away from other assets like stocks and bonds into commodities like precious metals, gold, silver, palladium, platinum, even US oil could be in that mix. And so that could be a potential hint that we may see some downside in traditional markets. Remember, the S&P 500 is the only traditional market right now that's yet to come down and break the 50-day moving average. But Japan, which is the largest international market outside the S&P 500, has already done that. And then, of course, in the Euro 100, the Shanghai, all of those places have already done that as well. So all international markets have done it. The S&P 500 is the last domino piece. So exciting to watch this. And then, of course, we want to monitor this gold to Bitcoin chart. And when we invert this chart, it's a little bit better aesthetically when you look at it like this. Notice how we're still at this 50-period moving average on the daily chart. This was a predictor of the top in 2017 when the value of Bitcoin against gold broke down from the 50-day moving average. It did start a downward channel. And so we want to monitor this as we see futures markets open as well. A very exciting week ahead. I hope you guys are excited for Monday. I certainly am. This is a very, very important time in the markets, and Bitcoin having a cup of coffee like it always has at that $58,300 level. Very exciting to see that. If you guys want to win one of my favorite books on investing, Principles by Ray Dalio, hardcover copy, comment below